Hello everyone, welcome back. We've got another news video here to discuss. In today's video we got some signings to talk about, some injury updates to talk about, potential coaching hiring in Toronto has happened, we'll touch on that. Plus we also look at some interesting trade rumors involving the Carolina Hurricanes, the Sharks and the Oilers, and the Vegas Golden Knights. We'll do all that coming up right now. Hello everyone, welcome back to another video here at the Internet Talking Channel. Before we get into this video, don't forget to like this video and subscribe down below. Thank you all for your support. I've never been able to without you guys. We're so close to 300 subscribers, so if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe and don't forget to leave a comment down in the comment section below discussing today's video. Now, we're going to once again start today's video off as we usually do by discussing some signings from over the past couple of days. We're going to go over the 7 signings that happened from over May 7th to May 10th. So a lot of interesting signings that happened over that time frame. So we'll start here. First, Max Willman, who was a depth player for the New Jersey Devils this year, signed a 1-year contract extension with New Jersey Devils with an AAV of $775,000. That'll begin at the start of next year. So for Willman, that's fantastic stuff there. He was able to get 12 goals and 22 points in 33 AHL games this year. Also got into 18 NHL games, put up 3 goals and 4 points. So looks like a pretty good player. Should still be a really solid call-up option if they run into some injuries. So that's a pretty good sign there for the Devils to get Willman locked up for next year. Then we also saw the Blackhawks in one of their key pending RFAs, and that's left winger / center Lucas Reichel. Reichel was able to get a 2-year contract extension with an AAV of $1.2 million. They'll be in the start of next year. Reichel played mostly at the NHL level last year. In 65 NHL games, got 5 goals and 16 points. Was a -29. Didn't look overly good, but the Hawks are not an overly good team, and he was not put in the best position to succeed. So still looks like a pretty good player. He got 8 points in 10 games at the AHL level. So I think eventually he should be a solid, fantastic top 6 forward there for the Hawks. So signing him to a 2-year deal with the AAV of $1.2 million, I think was fantastic for the Hawks, so that's a pretty good sign there for Chicago. Then we saw the New Jersey Devils send right winger Nathan Legare to a 1-year contract extension with the AAV of $775,000 that'll begin at the start of next year. Legare has basically been an AHL player his entire career, has no games of NHL action. This past year had 8 goals and 12 points in 54 games with the Canadiens and Devils AHL affiliates combined. It looks like he could be maybe eventually call-up option, so solid depth finding there for the Devils to get some more bodies for their team next year. Then we saw the Carolina Hurricanes send Joel Nystrom, who was a 2021 7th round pick, to a 2-year contract extension with an AAV of $925,000. That'll begin at the start of next year. Nystrom last year played in the SHL, put up 8 goals and 26 points in 51 games. Looks like eventually could be a solid third-paired defenseman there for the Carolina Hurricanes, so that's a pretty good sign there for Carolina. Then we saw New York Islanders sign Marcus Högberg to a 2-year contract with an AAV of $775,000. That'll begin at the start of next year. Högberg did used to play for the Ottawa Senators, have been playing over in the SHL over the past couple of years. Last year had a 2.50 GAA, 914 save percentage in 40 games. Looked pretty good, so I think that's a pretty good sign there for the Islanders. And although I don't think he'll be able to beat out Sorokin or Varlamov, I think it's a pretty good sign there for the Islanders. So good sign there for the Islanders to sign Högberg. Then the St. Louis Blues signed left winger / center Hugh McGing to a 2-year contract extension with an AAV of $750,000. That'll be at the start of next year. Once again, McGing, mostly an AHL call-up option. This past year had 39 points in 51 AHL games. Also got into 5 NHL games, had no points. Looks like it potentially could still be a decent bottom 6 forwards. It's a pretty good sign there for the Blues. And I think he should be a really good player there for the St. Louis. So pretty good sign there for St. Louis. And then we saw Pittsburgh Penguins sign pending UFA Valtteri Puustinen, who had a really good season this year, to a 2-year contract extension with the AAV of $775,000. That'll be at the start of next year. Puustinen had 13 points, including 5 goals in 24 AHL games this year, but also had 5 goals and 20 points in 54 NHL games this year. Looked fantastic. Was one of the better Penguins young players this year, and I think eventually could be a solid Middlesex forward. So that's a pretty good sign there for the Penguins, and I think Puustinen definitely deserved it. So that's a pretty good sign there for Pittsburgh. But those are all signs we're getting to over this time frame. So we saw New Jersey send Willman and Legare, 2 really good depth options, to a 1-year contract extensions with $775,000 AAVs. Reichel gets a 2-year deal with a $1.2 million AAV. Fantastic stuff there. Högberg gets a 2-year contract with an AAV of $775,000 to go to New York. The Carolina Hurricanes signed Nystrom on an ELC. The Blues signed depth forward McGing on a 2-year contract, and then the Penguins were able to bring back Puustinen, who was heading for unrestricted free agency. So that's pretty good signs there from the past couple of days, and we'll hopefully touch on the the rest of them in our next news video. Going over to a quick injury update here for the past couple of days. Just quickly update here. Roope Hintz has upright injuries out day to day, missed the past couple of games. That's a really bad blow there for the Stars. Devon Toews is healthy now, was able to get back into game action for Game 6 against the Stars, so that's very good stuff there for the Avalanche. Matt Nieto has a knee MCL injury. He's going to be out for the next 6 months. Ludwig has a wrist injury. He's out for the next 5 months. And Letang has a finger injury, out for the next 2 months. So that's really bad blows there for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Then we also saw Blake Wheeler be cleared to play. Not sure if he'll get back into game action in the conference final, but that's a really good news there for the Rangers, as they could be getting another offensive weapon back. Mikheyev has undisclosed injuries out day to day for the Canucks. That's a bad blow there for the Canucks. Brad Marchand has been cleared to play and got back into game action in Game 6 for the Bruins against the Panthers. So that's really good news. And then Yakov Trinan has undisclosed injury and is out for an unknown period of time for the Colorado Avalanche. That was a bad blow for the Avalanche in Game 6, but still lots of interesting injury updates. Good to see guys like Wheeler be cleared to play and potentially get back into game action soon, and also good to see Marchand and Toews get back. But bad news to see guys like Hintz, Letang, Mikheyev, and Trinan all go down with injuries, and hopefully they're able to recover and get back into game action and not just in the future. So some interesting stuff there. Also want to talk about Craig Berube. There's been a lot of speculation and a lot of reporting over the past 24 hours that Berube is most likely going to be the head coach, and we're just waiting for an official announcement. I'm not sure if that's actually come yet or not. I'll definitely talk about this in our news videos. A lot of people do think next day or two we'll have an announcement, but it does sound like Berube will be the new head coach of the Toronto Maple Leafs. I think that will be a fantastic hire. Berube, in my opinion, is a very fantastic coach. I think he'll be exactly what the Leafs would need to lead them deeper into the playoffs. So we'll have to wait and see exactly if that is the case, but it does sound like Berube will be the new head coach of the Toronto Maple Leafs. And lastly, going over to a couple of quick trade rumors here. First with the Vegas Golden Knights. Could we see the Golden Knights move Shea Theodore this offseason? Now, this is a little bit of a surprise in my opinion, but I've seen this come up a lot, and that is that Shea Theodore, who's a solid top 4 defenseman, a really great top 4 D in Vegas. Could we see him leave? It's possible. Now, he's not pending UFA. He's still got, I think it's 1 or 2 more years left on his deal, so he doesn't need to be moved. But with the signing of Noah Hanifin, they already have Pietrangelo, Haig, Whitecloud, McNabb still signed. There's a very likely chance that a lot of people think that Theodore could be the odd man out. Now, I'm going to say it's probably not going to happen. I think the Knights like Theodore, and when his contract is up, I think they would like to keep him. But I've seen a lot of people say if they move Theodore, they could probably keep Marchand, and they could get a really good return for Theodore. And I think that's a really likely possibility. Theodore's a fantastic defenseman, but in my opinion, I wouldn't move Theodore. I think Theodore is probably number 2, if not number 1 on this defense, as the best defenseman on this blue line. When he missed time due to injuries this year, this Knights team wasn't the same, so I wouldn't trade Theodore personally, in my opinion. It's possible that there are going to be some teams who are interested. I mean, he's a solid top 4 offensive defenseman who's really great for that Golden Knights team, so I wouldn't be overly surprised if he was considered as being moved, but I would be quite shocked if he was moved, given the fact that I think he's a really, really good top 4 defenseman who I think can work out in a variety amount of ways for our team. So I think Vegas State keeps Theodore and finds some other way to try and free up cap space. I wouldn't be overly surprised if they move a guy like McNabb or Haig before they move Theodore on the blue line, but it's going to be interesting to see if they do end up considering moving Theodore. We know the Golden Knights are okay with making tough decisions to make their team better. I'm just not sure if moving Theodore will make that team better right now. So we'll have to wait and see exactly what happens there. That could be an interesting piece of news there for the Golden Knights. Next, could we see the Carolina Hurricanes move on from a couple of key pieces? Now, after the Carolina Hurricanes were eliminated from the playoff contention, we'll get to a full off-season preview video here for the Hurricanes and not just in future, hopefully at some point this upcoming week or the week after. But this is going to be an interesting situation because I've seen this be mentioned a lot on social media, and that is a lot of speculation early is that Brett Pesce and Martin Necas are not going to be back for the Carolina Hurricanes. Now, for Pesce, he's a pending UFA. He was not able to finish out the playoffs given the fact he had an injury. The Carolina Hurricanes have a lot of pending UFAs on the blue line, including Shea, Chatfield, and D'Angelo as well. And Slavin, Burns, and Orlov are all going to be a year away from unrestricted free agency too. So that blue line is really going to be hard to keep all of the pieces together. And there was already a lot of talk that Pesce and Carolina had contract negotiations last offseason and early early into this year, and it wasn't going anywhere. So it sounds like Pesce will probably hit the free agent market. So that will be probably one of the top right shot defensemen available on the market. And I think on the market, Pesce could easily get somewhere between $6 and $6.5 million would be my guess. So that's my guess on Pesce, but it does sound like Pesce will not be back with the Hurricanes beyond this year. On top of that, there's been a lot of talk that the Carolina Hurricanes are not going to be able to keep Martin Necas, and there's a very likely chance that Necas gets traded. Now, Necas had another fantastic season this year, 12th overall pick in the 2017 draft, was a very fantastic top 6 forward for the Hurricanes this playoffs, this regular season. Looks like a very fantastic middle 6 forward who can really help that team, but he's probably going to command somewhere between $6 and $8 million in the new contract, and we know the Carolina Hurricanes are stingy on giving up long-term contracts with big money, so there's a very likely chance that we could see Necas be moved. Now, it sounds like Jarvis is a lot more likely to stay, and they'll probably try and keep some of the UFAs around, but to do that, they may need to clear up some cap space, and that may lead to them moving Necas. Now, Necas, like I said, solid top 6 forward. There would be a ton of teams interested, especially some of the lower-end teams who missed the playoffs this year, who are looking to get better for the future. I mean, Necas, I think, is one of the younger forwards on that Carolina Hurricanes team. I'm not sure exactly what his age is, but he's still RFA, so I think there would be a ton of teams like a Blackhawks, for instance, Sabres, Senators, the Utah franchise. There'll probably be a couple of other teams out there too who will be willing to pay maybe a first-round pick, really good prospect, another good player to the Carolina Hurricanes in exchange for Martin Necas. So not exactly sure who will try and target him, but it does sound like the Carolina Hurricanes will move on from Martin Necas this offseason, and he probably won't be back with the Hurricanes next year. So interesting to note there, but Necas and Pesce most likely are not going to be back with the Hurricanes this year. And lastly, going over to the Edmonton Oilers and the San Jose Sharks. Now, this isn't sort of a rumor. This is just something that was talked about in the Jeff Merrick show a couple of days ago. But they were talking about Leon Draisaitl, and the Oilers are out again. I think there's going to be a lot of discussion around what's going to happen with Draisaitl and McDavid this offseason, because Draisaitl is available for a contract extension July 1st, and with the way the Oilers have been playing over the past while, even if they do get to a conference final and they lose like 5 games to the Dallas Stars, there's a very likely chance there's still going to be some major changes coming to the Edmonton Oilers. Now, Draisaitl, like we said, available for an extension as early as July 1st. I'm not sure he's going to extend with the Oilers right now, given how poorly the Oilers have been in the playoffs. So I'm not sure if Draisaitl will want to remain with the Oilers or if he'll sign somewhere else a year later. Not exactly sure what's going to happen with Draisaitl, but there were a couple people on the Jeff Merrick show talking, and they were talking about how if he does hit free agency, could the Sharks be a player for Draisaitl? Now, Draisaitl, like we said, is a solid top 6 center, will probably command on the open market $13.5 million. He's a top 5 player in the league. Now, at this point in time, it would be a little bit surprising to see him go to San Jose, given the fact the Sharks are a rebuilding team, looking to continue to go down this rebuild route. But they just got Macklin Celebrini by getting the first overall pick. They have a really good prospect pool. They have a couple of really good draft picks for this upcoming draft. As much as they don't have the best prospect pool, they don't have a bad one either, and I think there's a very likely chance that in the next maybe 3 to 4 years this team could be really competitive. So they could also have a ton of cap space in the next couple of years when Draisaitl winds up being available. I mean, they could have Couture off of their books, Vlasic off the books, so they could have a couple of more players who are off their books. Grenlin's going to be gone, so they could have a ton of cap space to work with in the free agent market. They could pay Draisaitl like $13.5–14 million to go to San Jose. Now, I'm not sure if Draisaitl wants to leave Edmonton. I wouldn't say it's a guarantee. He might like being in Edmonton, but with the Oilers' lack of playoff success, he may want to go to a fresh start. And like I said, a rebuild until San Jose, that might be a little bit surprising to go there, but like I said, this team has a future foundation of being a cup contender in the next 3 to 4 years. So if Draisaitl has to be on a team that doesn't make the playoffs for 1 to 2 years, maybe he's willing to go there. I'm not exactly sure if that's a possibility that he'd entertain. I'm not exactly sure if the Sharks are going to throw all of their money next offseason if Draisaitl does hit free agency at Draisaitl, but it's an interesting concept. Could Draisaitl go to the San Jose Sharks? He'd immediately make that team a lot better. He'd be able to join a young group that already has guys like Eklund, Smith, could probably have Celebrini at that point in time too, so that could be a really interesting fit there for the San Jose Sharks if they were able to get Draisaitl. So we'll have to wait and see exactly what happens there. It's just a talking point, no rumors linking Draisaitl to San Jose, but it's an interesting concept. If Draisaitl could go to San Jose, that San Jose Sharks team looks a ton better, and maybe instead of 3 to 4 years, they're only 2 to 3 years away from a cup. So we'll have to wait and see exactly what happens there, but that's all I'm going to talk about for today. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on all of this down in the comment section below. What do you think about about all the stuff we discussed here today. Could Draisaitl go to the Sharks, or is that something that's more out there right now? Could Necas and Pesce both be gone by the Carolina Hurricanes this offseason? Could we see the Golden Knights move Shea Theodore? Is it more likely he stays? And what do you think about the potentiality of Berube being the new head coach in Toronto, plus injury and the signing updates from the past couple of days? Definitely let me know your guys' thoughts on all of that down in the comment section below. So I'm going to talk about for today. Remember to like this video, and if you really liked it, remember to subscribe down below. Thank you all for your support. I'm able to without you guys. So if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe button down below. Don't forget to leave a comment down in the comment section below so I can discuss today's video. I also have a blog talking about news, rumors, analysis, stuff like that. So if you can check that out, I'll leave a link in the description below. And I can't wait to see you guys all for next video. See you guys soon.